Have you been thinking about moving to Roseville, California, but you're not sure if it's right for your family? Do you think it looks like a pretty ideal Sacramento suburb, but you're wondering what are some of the negatives, some of the things that I might not like about living there? Then this video is for you. Today I'm going to go over 10 reasons you might not want to move to Roseville, California. Now look, Roseville is a really great place to live, and it is one of the most affordable and best Sacramento suburbs, and I do think it represents the very best that Northern California living has to offer. But it's not for everybody. Every town has its downfalls and its negatives, and if one of those is a deal breaker for your family, better to find out now from the comfort of your couch than after you've moved here. So let's get stuck right into my list of 10 reasons you might not want to move to Roseville, starting with reason number 1. Reason number 1 you might not want to move to Roseville is heat. It is hot. Look, the whole Sacramento Central Valley area is hot, and Roseville is no different. And if you're from out of town, I think people kind of discount how hot it actually is. So what do I mean by hot? I mean triple digits a lot of days in the summer, probably 3 weeks of the summer, not all continuous, but 3 7-day periods over the course of the summer when you're in triple digits. And in the last couple of years, we've been seeing some big numbers thrown up. We've had a few days that are 110 to 114. Now that's 2 or 3 days out of the whole summer. It's not that big of a deal, and you can always just run over to the lake in Folsom or up the hill to Auburn or up to Truckee or Tahoe to cool off and get up into the mountain air and out of the Central Valley heat. But no matter how you slice it, if you don't like hot, dry summers, Roseville is not going to be right for you and your family. If you're getting anything at all out of this video, hit the like button, click subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss another video with crucial information to help you with your relocation. It really helps the channel, and it lets me know what kind of content helps you guys the most. All right, now back to our list of 10 reasons you might not want to move to Roseville. Reason number 2 not to move to Roseville is train noise. Now that might sound a little funny because it's 2025 as I'm recording this, but there still is an active train system running through Roseville. I'm talking freight trains, and these trains are loud. So depending on what neighborhood you choose or what parts of the city you're in, if you're closer to the tracks, that railroad noise can be significant. I have had some clients over the years move into Roseville that the train noise really bothered them. So it's something to make sure. If you think that's going to bother you and your family, check out the neighborhood you're in, ask your realtor, and make sure you don't end up purchasing in one of the neighborhoods that's close to the train tracks, because if train noise is going to bother you, that could be a real deal breaker for your family. All right, right about now, you're probably wondering who I am and why you should be listening to me about Roseville, real estate, or anything at all, really, and that's a pretty fair question. My name is Rich Curtis with eXp Realty, and I've been selling homes here for over 20 years now, and markets ranging from the Great Recession to the COVID market insanity and everything in between. So when it comes to Placer County real estate, I've got you covered. Now, back to our list of 10 reasons you might not want to buy in Roseville. Reason number 3 you might not want to move to Roseville is traffic. Now, look, in general, the traffic in the Sacramento area is pretty bad, and your Highway 80 traffic going through Roseville is going to be bad. But more specifically, I'm talking about your Highway 65 traffic, and very specifically the Highway 65, Highway 80 interchange traffic. Look, when they built out Highway 65, which serves part of Roseville and Rocklin and Lincoln were pretty sleepy little towns. They just never imagined how popular this place would be. And now it has been very popular and has seen massive growth over the last decade. And as such, Highway 65 just can't handle the volume of cars going in and out of there every day. And if you live in Rocklin, and especially out in Lincoln, you're using Highway 65 no matter what to get down to Highway 80 to get out and do really anything in your daily life. If you want more on that, you can watch my videos on the pros and cons of Lincoln and Rocklin. But this area is pretty impacted with traffic. They are working on the problem. They are expanding the amount of lanes at the Highway 65, Highway 80 interchange, but it is a very popular area with lots of construction still going on. So it's going to continue to have traffic no matter how you slice it. If you don't want to deal with traffic, Roseville might not be the place for you. Reason number 4 you might not want to move to Roseville is that there is still lots of construction going on in Roseville. Like I said in the last segment, it is an in-demand area, and they're continuing to build master plan communities and build out new construction homes in Roseville because it is such a popular place to live. But what comes with that is continued construction noise, continued construction traffic, and continued influx of new people into the community, which makes lots of things like traffic and crowding and all of that worse. So if you don't want to live in a place that is growing and expanding, then Roseville just might not be the right solution for your family. Reason number 5 you might not want to move to Roseville goes along with the last one. It's crowding. It is getting quite crowded in Roseville because this has been such a popular area to move, because the quality of life is so high there. People have really flooded into this area, and not just Roseville, also, as I said, Rocklin and Lincoln, and all of those people come down into Roseville for a lot of their daily services and their shopping and their entertainment, because there's less of those things in Roseville and Rocklin. Again, there's more on that if you look at the pros and cons of Roseville, Rocklin, and Lincoln videos. But suffice it to say, the whole area kind of pours into Roseville to take advantage of things like the shopping at the fountains, the shopping at the Galleria, the Golfland Sunsplash, Old Town Roseville, and all the cool bars and all of that and restaurants down there. So it is getting quite crowded in Roseville. So if lots of people around, crowding, long lines and wait times to get into things isn't your jam, and that's going to really bother you, then you might want to think twice about moving to Roseville. Reason number 6 you might not want to move to Roseville is lack of nightlife. Now, look, I did mention that there is Old Town Roseville, which has some cool bars and restaurants, and there are actually quite a few restaurants throughout Roseville, but this is still a sleepy little suburb by urban standards. So when it comes to nightlife, they're really going to pull the curbs in around 9 or 10 o'clock here, and there's not going to be much to do after that. So if you're still in the phase of life where going out late and partying and going to clubs and seeing DJs and all of this sort of thing, or lots of live music and late night shows is a part of your life, Roseville is really not going to fit the bill there. You're going to have to go down into downtown Sacramento to access that. Now, that's not that far, depending on traffic. Most of the time, you can probably get there in about 35 minutes. But if you want to live right in the heart of that sort of thing, right where you can access all of it and have a thriving nightlife and music scene around you, Roseville is not the place for that. Look, if at the end of this video you still aren't sure if Roseville is right for you, or you're considering some of the other Sacramento area suburbs and you just need a little help, feel free to reach out to me via the contact information on your screen or in the description down below. Like I said, I've been selling homes here for over 20 years, and I've helped hundreds of families just like yours decide where to land in the greater Sacramento area, and I'm always happy to help. All right, let's jump back into our list of 10 reasons you might not want to move to Roseville. Reason number 7 you might not want to move to Roseville is lack of public transportation. If you're coming from an area that has a really robust public transportation system, something like a San Francisco or a Berkeley or a Chicago or a Boston or a New York, where you're used to having really great public transportation access and being able to really get by and live without a car, Roseville is not that place. Sure, they've got some city buses and that sort of thing, but there's not much of them. It's a little confusing and nobody's really using it. It's just not the kind of place where people are using public transportation a whole lot. So if having a really walkable community is important to you, or having access to public transportation where you don't need to use a car every day is important to you, or you like to commute by public transportation because you just don't like to have that much windshield time in the car, then you might want to think twice about Roseville. It might not fit the bill for your family. Reason number 8 you might want to reconsider moving to Roseville is HOA and Mello-Roos. Look, everybody's pretty familiar with what an HOA, a homeowners association, is, but because Roseville has been built out mostly in these planned unit subdivisions, at least most of the newer part, not Old Town, or the older neighborhoods in Roseville, but most of it is going to have HOA fees, and these can be quite high, in the hundreds a month. Now, a lot of the new construction, even the older new construction, homes and planned unit subdivisions, and almost all of the brand new ones are going to have Mello-Roos, which is a taxable bond that the builders use to pass on the cost of infrastructure, things like sidewalks and street lights and sewers, to the eventual homeowners. So they assess this as a tax that you pay over a number of years, and this can be quite high. I've seen this as high as $500-$600 a month, and when you add that on top of $100 or $200 or $250 a month in terms of HOA fees, this can really increase your monthly payment and increase the cost of homeownership in Roseville compared to some other parts of Sacramento where you'll be buying older resale homes that don't have HOA and Mello-Roos. Now, if you're going into the brand new right now deliverable new construction industry in Roseville, there's even more fees that come with that. Some of these places have, golf course community fees or golf course memberships. Some of them have on-site restaurants where you have to spend a certain amount per month in their restaurant or pay it into the HOA. Some of them have 1% transfer fees when you sell, so your cost of sale goes up by 1%, and that's paid to the HOA upon sale. There's a lot going on there in terms of extra costs that comes with new construction. You can get more on that if you watch my video on new construction versus residential resale, but just know when coming into Roseville, new construction means extra fees, and sometimes you're not really getting any current present value out of some of those fees, and it jacks your payment up quite a bit, and it's something you need to know if you're going to consider moving to Roseville. If those kind of fees bother you, or if the presence of an HOA telling you what you can do with real estate that you paid a lot of money for. As of the recording of this video, the median home price in Roseville is $652,000, which, as I said, is actually a bargain. It is actually the most affordable Sacramento suburb at $652,000 median home value. But still, if it's going to bother you to spend $652,000 and have an HOA tell you what color you can paint your house and where you can park your cars, then Roseville probably isn't for you. Reason number 9 you might not want to move to Roseville is because it is a suburban, sprawled out strip mall type of environment. This is suburbia. This is a town that just kept building and expanding, and as such, most of your shopping and daily activity is going to be done in these big box retail strip mall type environments. There is that little cool old town Roseville where you can get some more mom and pop shop type of thing, but the vast majority of your life is going to be in these strip mall type environments. This is going to feel really familiar. So for some of you, this might actually be a pro. If you're coming from, San Jose, if you're coming from some parts of LA, things like that, this might feel a lot like home. But for some of you, if you were thinking of Roseville as being a little more rural, because it is kind of rural adjacent, not too far from Roseville, you get out into some more rural communities. And if you were thinking it wasn't quite suburbia, you'd be wrong there. Roseville is suburban sprawl, and if that's not what you're looking for, then Roseville isn't going to be right for your family. All right, reason number 10, and the last reason on our list why you might not want to move to Roseville, is that it's a driving city. This goes along with some of our other points about it being kind of a sprawled out suburban landscape and not having a very walkable community or having much public transportation on offer. So really, if you're going to live in Roseville, you're going to need a car. It's a driving city. It takes long distances, and due to some of the crowding and traffic, it can take 15 to 20 minutes just to get across town. If you're coming from that Highway 65, Highway 80 interchange and trying to get across town at peak traffic times, it could take you 30 minutes to get across town. So when it comes to living in Roseville, you're going to have a car. Now, of course, that adds cost and maintenance and all of that, and some people just don't want to deal with having a car. Like I said, if you're coming from an area with a really robust public transportation system and you're used to life without a car, that's going to be an adjustment in Roseville. It would be pretty hard to live in Roseville without a car. It's just something you need to know. If you don't want to have to own a car, Roseville is probably off your list. All right, that wraps up our discussion of 10 reasons you might not want to move to Roseville, California. And look, like I said in the opening, I think Roseville is a really amazing place to live, and it has some of the very best that Northern California has to offer in terms of affordable quality of life. And it is one of the most affordable Sacramento suburbs, but it's not right for everybody. So I hope this list helped you determine whether Roseville is right for your family or not. Now, if you want to take a deeper dive, you can click on this video right here for the pros and cons of living in Roseville. If you'd like to see some of the other towns in the area, you can click here for the pros and cons of living in Rocklin. And if you'd like to see Roseville compared in a head-to-head battle against many of our local towns, Roseville against Rocklin, Roseville against Lincoln, Roseville against Folsom, Roseville against Sacramento, you can click this playlist right here for my town versus town videos. As always, thanks for making it to the end with me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.